Why don't you come to the planetarium? The beautiful twinkling of eternity that will never fade, no matter when. All the stars in the sky are waiting for you. Why don't you come to the planetarium? The beautiful twinkling of eternity that will never fade, no matter when. All the stars in the sky are waiting for you. Why don't you come to the planetarium? Congratulations! Both my eyes were shot through with light. I tore the night vision goggles off my face before they burned out my retinas. For several seconds, I wasn't able to do anything at all. However, the sound that assailed me next was neither the crack of machine gun fire, nor was it the hiss of nerve gas. You are our 2,500,000th customer. No, it was a young woman's voice, clear and sweet, completely out of place in the midst of the godforsaken rubble. Since it was reverberating off the high ceiling, it was difficult to ascertain its point of origin. I pointed my grenade launcher forward, alarmed. Even though I let the tension in my trigger finger drain away, I kept the weapon pointed straight ahead. After all, sometimes intimidation alone was enough. However, if that other person was trying to kill me... The voice immediately fell silent. When... Oh my, that was inexcusable. I humbly beg your pardon. She started apologizing with an incredible burst of energy. It's quite a long way from the truth, actually. To be precise, you are the 2,497,288th customer. I cheated by 2,712 places. And yet, I was certain that you would be pleased. I really had no idea what she was talking about. Waves of bewilderment swirled through my head. Why was there a human being in a place like this? And why a young woman at that? Was this a trap laid by another junker? But if that was the case, why was I still alive? On top of that, why would this girl not stop talking? Actually, the number I just gave you is not exactly accurate either. Some time ago, I made an exception and let a little boy and little girl in when they didn't have enough for the admission fee. So technically, you are the 2,497,290th customer. I sincerely beg your pardon. The figure of a person began to appear out of the light as the persistent after-images oozed away. It seemed like a short, young woman. I took a close look at her as I continued to cautiously point the barrel of my gun towards her. She looked to be maybe 15 or 16 years old. Long, lightly colored hair divided on both sides into ponytails. Strange ear pads that almost totally concealed her ears. A hat sitting lightly on her head, hair ornaments as wide as cargo bands. A short skirt that ended just above her knees. She was holding something in her arms, too. I couldn't imagine that it was a weapon, but its use as anything else was a complete mystery to me. This was simply an incomprehensible situation. Her posture was more rigid and upright than even that of a toy soldier. Mr. Customer? The ceaseless chattering came to an end at last. She cocked her head slightly. There was a buzzing sound, almost like that of a leaf beetle in flight along with her movements. Her long, unruly hair that was parted down the center suddenly billowed out, even in the total absence of a breeze. It was almost as if her body was suspended in a sea of weightless silk thread. And at last, I understood. I understood what a defenseless little girl was doing in these uninhabited ruins. This being, who stood smiling like a fool before a man pointing a 40mm high explosive grenade launcher at her, was A robot? Yes, I am a robot. She responded in delight. My name is Hoshino Yumemi, and I am a member of the staff at this institution. With a childish smile, she presented that thing she was holding in her hands to me. What the hell is that? It's a bouquet. Please accept this in commemoration of your visit here. I looked at it once again. Fluorescent bulbs, old-style microphones, power cords, camera lenses, pieces of copper wire, fragments of organic plastic. The variegated bundle of junk was wrapped in a roll of opaque film with ribbon cable tied in a bow at the bottom. I somehow got the impression that this situation was hopeless. Of course, I had never seen a bouquet of real flowers in my life, but it wasn't as if the obvious fact was lost on me. Those were absolutely not real flowers. They weren't even, for that matter, artificial flowers. Please accept this in commemoration of your visit here. She repeated those same words over again. Her smile seemed to carry no malice whatsoever. As a result, I accepted her so-called bouquet. After I confirmed that there were no explosives or unusual artifacts in it, I threw it onto the floor. I beg your pardon. To tell you the truth, I was unable to prepare real flowers for you. Real flowers? Yes, there is a flower shop on the first floor of this department store. If you call them, their delivery service is usually very prompt and courteous. However, I couldn't reach them by telephone, and tried to make one myself, but... It is embarrassing for me to say this, but I really have no eye for which bouquets are beautiful. I humbly beg your pardon. I had some knowledge about robots. Before the outbreak of the Great War, they comprised one of the prime export industries in the country that had once existed here. They were so exquisitely built that they could not be told apart from human beings with just a single glance. They thought of nothing but serving humans, and labored for the good of all mankind. Even so, there was something very odd about the way that this thing standing before my eyes was trying to appease me. Are you broken? Yes, I am just a little broken. She answered as if it were a matter of fact. There currently exists an unidentified bug in my self-diagnostic subroutines. My backup CMOS battery is depleted and must be replaced. I can't establish communications with the support center. I've transmitted a ticket for my maintenance call, but there has been no response. I can't connect to my personal backup data archive. My cervical vertebral power unit is past its operational lifespan and must be replaced. She reeled off her defects with more pride than an old man grown utterly tired of life. There also exists known issues with my personal information databases and my conversation subroutines. Because of them, the tendency to engage in verbose conversation without taking time into consideration has become a unique characteristic of this unit. However, Mr. Manager and the staff said I'm cuter this way, and so they only allowed my auto-update function to run off of physical media. At this point, I had already abandoned all hope of comprehending what she was saying. I looked around inside the room as I shouldered my grenade launcher. A dusky, dome-shaped roof. As I looked closely, I saw that there were uniform gray lines engraved over the entire surface. There didn't seem to be a single light installed anywhere. A large circular platform, about 20 meters in diameter. Many plain chairs were closely packed in a radial configuration on that platform. Every single one faced the center of the room, and was slightly reclined such that an occupant could look up comfortably. There were 3 doors, each one with a green rectangular guidance light shining above it. I had no idea how this could be, but it meant that there was a private power generator on the premises, and that it was still operational. Judging from the cool dryness of the air, it appeared that the air conditioning was functional as well. There was a mechanism like none I had seen before at the center of the group of chairs. If I were to allow my imagination to run wild, I could very easily think that it was a gigantic, double-headed black ant. Two spherical masses, each one with countless holes, were mounted like dumbbell weights on either side of a central shaft. The shaft tilted diagonally, supported by a steel scaffolding. The entire contraption stood in a delicate balance like that of a gyroscope. Two lights, concealed by bowl-like covers, one on either side of the supports, were illuminating the entirety of the room. They were emitting a frail, harmless, orange-colored light. Well, harmless only when it was not suddenly being shown into the eyes of someone wearing night vision goggles. The top of the ant's head came to about twice the height of a man. Had all the chairs been populated by people, it would seem almost as if those people were worshipping the ant. I had only seen something like this once before in my life. It was in a place far colder than this, in a village that just a few survivors of the final massacre had established, just inside the perimeter of the third line. The inhabitants of that village had fashioned a strange cylindrical idol out of the wreckage of battle mechs and placed it in a church with a shattered roof. They named it after a summer flower that had disappeared from this earth long, long ago. They'd dance in circles around that idol, praying to it in words that I could not understand. They truly believed that if they did so, they could get the rain to stop falling. Mr. Customer, would it be okay if we started over again? I came to as soon as I heard her voice. She continued to be totally unconcerned about the fact that a grenade launcher had just been leveled at her. Mr. Customer, you are our first customer in exactly 29 years and 81 days. Welcome to the rooftop Planetarian of the Flower Crest department store. She bowed deeply as she said this.